name is Gary Schotten, and we're here as a part of Inspiring Better Business. And today we're going to talk about a subject that we've called Stop the Bleeding. And what I'm referring to that is really related to the fact that many business people are called upon to fund things, emergencies, situations that are unrelated to your business, and they're called upon to give money to people in need. And the analogy is that all of our bodies need blood to circulate. And once we cut ourselves, it's a pretty quick effort on most people to stop that bleeding, because you could bleed out fairly quickly and actually die fairly quickly if you don't stop the bleeding. Well, that's what happens to many companies. And this is a really big subject. Sometimes our subjects are a little bit on the peripheral, but this is a center point from what I understand happening in many developing nations. You see, there's a host of people that have a lot of need. They have need for school uniforms, school tuition, their auntie is in the hospital, there's a funeral, there's a wedding, the car's broke down, the rent's due. I mean, it's an endless list of things of need, especially in developing nations. And as you are developing your company and as you're growing your company, you're wanting to grow and develop, and so you become kind of a target because you have a company. It's assumed, and maybe true, that you have funds available to help with every single need somebody else has. The problem is, how long of a line can you address? You've got to address this in a way that you can manage this and feel comfortable with yourself and with the people around you. Of course, when you don't shell out the money, somebody's going to be mad, somebody's going to speaks poorly of you, but that's something you're going to have to live with. Now, money going out, draining out of your company is like blood going out of your bank account, because see, you need that money to grow, to pay your bills. And we have situations just that people are expecting you to give them the money when you have a stack of bills that you owe. You didn't give away your money, you gave away the money that was really the vendors that supplied you. You should have paid that bill with that same money. You did not give up your money, you gave somebody else's away. Not good. Well, there's a couple key points I want to teach on here. One, I suggest you separate your funds. That's number one. I have always, in my entire business career, I've had my business account and my household personal account that my wife and I share. That pays the bills, the food, the rent, and I basically only take out of my company account something typical to a salary and transfer it into my personal account, unless I then choose at some time way into the future, take out some of the money as an investment type return. Most of the time, it's just taking out the money I earn just like anybody else. So when somebody approaches you, you don't need to tell them anything about your business affairs. In fact, if you watch many successful business people, they'll be fairly low-keyed, meaning they're not trying to drive the nicest car or have the shiniest shoes or the most recent styles in dress, or they're pretty conservative. And one of the reasons is this issue that I'm talking about. Once you start looking prosperous, it's like a magnet pulling people to you. So you do what you want in that. But I don't flash my money around. I don't make it known. It's my secret. And then I keep it separate. I keep my business account separate, and I have a reserve in my business. I have a complete teaching on build a reserve, keep a reserve. And so that reserve has to be untouchable. And so if somebody approaches you, it's a fair statement to say, I have no personal money that I can give you on that need, or very little to give you, and address that in a way that you don't even take in consideration that you have money in your bank. Once you've kept it a secret, then don't let it out. That'd be number two. You're in a process to help educate that person that comes to you. You can ask them questions. Now, hold it. Why do you need that? Oh, I need tuition for my kids at school. I says, well, why didn't you make preparation for that far in advance? Oh, I need it by Friday. Why you have a chance now to put some pressure back to them. I've seen people spend their own money on such ridiculous things that when it came to a big thing like the utilities are out, or the rent or something really important, they know that they can't borrow money from you to buy Christmas presents or to buy the new pair of shoes. So they go buy the new pair of shoes, and sure enough, they're out of money, so they could press you for the rent or the utilities. Stop that game. Say, listen, you had money and you didn't use it wisely, so the answer is no. I am not giving you any money, because you're going to have to learn the lesson just like I learned it, to manage your own money. Again, you're going to have to decide how best to do that in a loving fashion. But you are now an educator of others that have no control on their funds. Just because they have a disaster does not mean that you have to be thrown into a disaster with them. You take care and you don't become emotional in this. Then there's a case in time where you say, hey, this is legit, but they need 2,000 of something, whatever currency you want. And the reality is there's just no way you can do that. And you're not going to do it anyway. So sometimes I'll just use that number 2,000 and whatever currency. And you say, no, I can't help you with 2,000, but here's 200. Or I can't help you with 200, here's a 20. And I'm going to pray over this with you. I'm going to direct you that God is my source, God is your source, and I'm planting this as a seed into your hand right now, that I believe with this, God's going to come forth and make a way. You are not God. You are not the financer. You are directing other people to God, and you're going to have to help them find their way sometimes. So you can help them when you become a bit of an educator. And you're not scolding them. You're not making them feel ugly. But sometimes that's the only thing that's going to wake them up. Sometimes hitting the bottom isn't the worst thing under the sun. Worst thing that could happen. Sometimes people need a little shaking up. Now, I keep saying it, but you're going to have to be the judge. But if you let money leave your bank account, your business account that was part of your reserve, part of your growth, you're like bleeding out. You've got a blood running out on the ground, and you got to stop it. You got to let the blood stay inside your body and regenerate itself and become healthy and strong and reserved. And then you really got to be careful, because God's calling upon you to be a giver. Not to every need that comes to your door, but to be a giver to the gospel of Jesus Christ. That's a good cause. So, you're not necessarily helping the person that has no faith in God, no direction in God, not attending church, not reading their Bible, not asking God to help, because heck, why do they need God? They got you. Just come and get some money from you. No, you've got to start that, and you've got to view this as an opportunity to move the culture in a direction that could be very good or favorable. Well, I hope this helps. I know that you're not approaching this, I'm not approaching this like this is the most simple thing you're ever going to do. You can believe that I made many mistakes on this one. And I'm a pretty soft touch, pretty generous. I've been accused of that. And I have erred on the wrong side of this. But be under control. Don't give away God's money. Don't give away someone else, your vendor's money. Don't give away your money. Be under control, and I believe God will bless you and give you wisdom. Well, once again, thanks for being a part of Inspiring Better Business, doing God's business God's way. Thank you.